Big announcement yesterday as BYU officially announced that the Jimmer Fredette, is going to have his number 32 jersey raised to the rafters in the Marriott Center. Now, you're probably wondering what took so long here. Well, BYU in their Hall of Fame and everything, they require that an athlete be 15 years removed from their playing days before they can be enshrined and honored in the way that BYU basketball is going to honor the Jimmer. And let's just put it this way. Have you seen anybody else wear the number 32 jersey since that 2011 season that Jimmer Fredette enjoyed? I haven't. I don't think you have either, because essentially has been retired for all those years. Nobody was going to wear that number, because when you do what Jimmer did as the Naismith Memorial Player of the Year, when essentially every Player of the Year award, lead BYU to the Sweet 16, do everything that Jimmer accomplished, yeah, you're one of the all-timers in a Cougar uniform, and it's well-deserved. I'm looking forward to this night because I'm going to pull back the curtain just a little bit for you guys. Many of you know I've been working in sports media since 2010. Well, I was an intern with Greg Wrubell, who is the venerable voice of the BYU Cougars. Back in 2010, I got an internship with him, and I worked that football season, and then the following basketball season was, once again, Jimmer Fredette's senior season. If you want an introduction into sports media as a guy who came with a non-traditional background in terms of, I wasn't studying comms at BYU at the time. I was a history major of all things, and I got this internship. And then all of a sudden you have one of the most singular college basketball seasons by a singular basketball player. That introduction, yeah, and Cody, you work in sports media? Yes, I do. I know you're trolling, but nonetheless, that introduction to watching how the media worked around Jimmer Fredette, I will never forget it. And we're now, 15 years on, obviously, since then. It's incredible to consider how long ago it was, but it also feels like yesterday to me, because it was an absolutely remarkable time. And I think any one of you who were alive during the Jimmer Fredette era, and some of our listeners and our viewers may be too young to simply remember it, because it has been a decade and a half. It is absolutely incredible to consider the heights that Jimmer ascended to during that season. And that's why this is going to be such a big night on Valentine's Day when Colorado's in town, that BYU is going to raise that banner and raise the jersey of Jimmer Fredette into the rafters at the Marriott Center. He's going to be immortalized forever there. And I love the fact that they waited the required time, the 15 years, and got it done. Like, you didn't need to waste any time. I know that some of you, Quint Whipple talking about, I was in Denver that year and they beat Gonzaga. There's that iconic shot. Any of you, I'm a guy who wrote Sports Illustrated my entire life. Is that iconic cover of Jimmer Fredette levitating seemingly against Gonzaga in the NCAA tournament run. It's actually one of the few Sports Illustrated covers I still have to this day. I've got a handful of them. I've got like the LeBron James one when he was in high school. I've got that Jimmer Fredette one. That Jimmer Fredette experience is probably the best way to call it, was unlike anything else that any of us, I think and who knows, maybe AJ DeBonsa ascends to that, but I'm telling you, remember back 15 years ago, this time, Jimmermania was in full effect. And I know that the Brandon Davies stuff took some of the steam out of that season, ultimately cost BYU maybe a run at the Final Four, because you look at the way that bracket broke in that NCAA tournament. Had they had Brandon Davies and his ability to kind of be that secondary option for BYU, who knows if they would have been able to make that run. I feel like they would have, personally. But thinking back on that, and Adam makes a good point here. I still remember when Kevin Durant tweeted about Jimmer Fredette, and there's that famous tweet that Kevin Durant called Jimmer Fredette the best scorer in the world. And at the time, wasn't he? Like, he was the absolute best of the best. And this is why it is going to be a major celebration on Valentine's Day. It's going to be all love for Jimmer Fredette on the day of love. And it's well-deserved. A couple of you pointing out, Main Man Slim, the Utah half-court buzzer at the half was absolutely insane. Some of you guys are going to get a kick out of this. Jimmer Fredette's senior year, and I was a student at BYU. You know how many games I saw Jimmer Fredette play live during the 2010-2011 season? Big fat goose egg. I was never on site. I was actually working at KSL Broadcast House, which, ironically enough, I now work at on a day-to-day basis, working for the KSL Sports Zone. But I was working behind the scenes, and to listen to the live feed of Greg Wrubell and Mark Durant calling those games, dealing with all the different requests that were coming in from media all over the country. It was a really, really incredible time. And that half court buzzer beater for that Utah game, after I got off of my shift that night, after that game wrapped up, I had some friends who had gone to the game up at the Huntsman Center. I went up to meet them at the Pie. You guys know the basement where the original Pie location, if I recall correctly, I think it's the original one, up there near the University of Utah campus. Well, we walked in there and we placed an order for some pizzas and whatnot. We were just gonna catch up and have a good time. And they asked what name to put on this order, and I'll never forget it. It's my buddy Colton White. I don't know if he'll get this go back to him, but he walked over to the counter and they asked what name they wanted to put on the order, and he said Jimmer. And the guy looked at him and said, "There's no bleeping way I am saying that name as your order name." My buddy said, "Well, that's what it is." So, good times. I'm just reminiscing on like old times because it's that vivid in my mind. All these different moments, him doing what he did against San Diego State, the moments against New Mexico, just all the things that Jimmer Fredette accomplished. It is one of the singular moments in BYU sports history. Yeah, we have the Danny Ainge of the 1980 season. Obviously, we've got things like Ty Detmer, his Heisman Trophy. We've got some incredible moments, the national championship for BYU football. Cody points out the 52 points is up there. Like everything that Jimmer did that year, you could take like a fifth of it, and it would be an all-time career for a lot of players. But we all experienced, like I said, if you're old enough to remember what Jimmer Fredette meant and what he was, you're never going to see that again. And it's nothing against what AJ DeBonce or anybody else in BYU basketball history is, could be, or will be. I'm telling you, to match that, I don't know that it can happen because Twitter was still kind of in its infancy in so many ways. It was 2011, and it was kind of a cultural phenomenon, but it's not what it is today. Pardon the kind of me just kind of bloviating on about this, but it's so cool to think about it. It's been that long since Jimmer Fredette did what he did. But I think for every one of us, and myself included, it is one of those moments you're never going to forget. And yeah, what could have been? Could they have made that run to the Final Four had the Brandon Davies situation not blown up as that season was coming to a close? Who knows? But what an incredible moment. And it's going to be another cool moment to be there in the Marriott Center. I'm not going to miss it. I'm sure many of you that have a chance, you'll be there for it, to watch that jersey raised to the banners. And his wife, they were on social media. I don't know if you see, I saw it on Wednesday, saying that they should rename the Marriott Center to the Jimmernasium. Kind of fun name. I think it'd be kind of cool. But I also know that the Marriott family essentially has that name in perpetuity because they funded the original construction of it like 50 whatever years ago it was. So incredible stuff for Jimmer Fredette. Well deserved, and congratulations to him. And I'm looking forward to seeing that a month from now when he's there, and they're obviously that number 32 jersey goes up in the rafters along some of the all-timers, the Danny Ainges, the Roland Minsons, Mel Hutchins, like the OGs, the greats in BYU basketball history. And maybe mention Jimmer Court. Hey, might be worth a consideration, but who knows what happens. But it's an incredible moment to think about what Jimmer has done, what he's meant to BYU basketball in particular, and just what he means to BYU in general. That's the thing about this, is all he's done ever since then is be an incredible representative of BYU. He's played in the Olympics, played in the NBA, he's the number 10 pick. So many cool things, and well-deserved honor for him as he will have his jersey enshrined up there in the Marriott Center.